Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome back to the Old Computer Shack. This is the serial I/O and cassette interface board for the H8 installed in the H8, and as you can see, the H8 is powered up. This is this top UART here that looks janky. I did the old two sockets magic to avoid bending and soldering on pins on these 8251 UARTs that are pretty rare and expensive these days. There are two variants, and only the old variant will work in these cards. There's an 8051A that doesn't work, and a plain old 8051 that they quit making in like 1980 or something that does work. So the originals are getting pretty hard to find, so I didn't want to fuck it up, bending pins and soldering on it or something, but I'll post a close-up photo of that. I can't get the bench cam in good the way things are here, but as you can see, I've usurped the RS-232 pins at TTL levels, of course, coming out of the UART, and fed them into this ESP32 module, which has been hot glued to a bare area of the board where the clock speed, the baud rate jumpers are usually placed, but they've been removed. Now, I'm generating the baud rate clock instead with the ESP32, and it travels over one of these wires into both the receive clock and the transmit clock. This is the one for the tape up here, and this is the one for the console down here. I'll probably do this to the console too. Once I get it working on the tape and make sure that everything's cool, and then the receive data, the transmit data, RTS, CTS, DTR, and DSR all go to various pins of the ESP32. And I'm working on some firmware for it, which isn't finished yet, but if I can find my mouse, I will show you. That is not the firmware. This is the shitty firmware. It doesn't do much yet. It just sets up the serial ports and sits there and prints what it sees the tape interface doing to the debug console, which we have right here. So I'm going to get the camera on my phone going here and splice it in later. Okay, so here's the H8, and if we push the 9 button, which I think this key is actually off of an H9 because it's supposed to say dump underneath of the 9 instead of having a parenthesis on it, so that's a little weird. But as soon as we press the dump key, it's going to try to start dumping select contents of memory that are set up at various memory locations. It's in the manual. In any case, it's got random values in it right now because I just powered the machine up. But I'm going to hit dump, and it's going to dump some stuff from somewhere. It doesn't matter what, just for testing purposes. And that's going to appear on the console over here. And let me switch you back to the console there, and we'll go ahead and upload the firmware to all that. I have to turn off the machine, and it should initialize after it finishes. Yes, we'll go back to the console here. It connects to the Wi-Fi network. It's printing the RTS and DTR status right now, and so we'll power up the H8 and see stuff happen on the console, delayed by a little bit by the magic of editing, so you can see both even though they happen at the same time. And then I will push the dump button, and you will see that the memory contents are being dumped as if to a cassette tape at 1200 baud to the ESP32 module. So now all I have to do is finish the firmware. It's already listening on a port. I just need to get it to accept connections to that port, and then write this data to that port and read data from that port and push it into the UART for reading back quote-unquote tapes. And I'll probably make this a little better with time. Some kind of configuration thingaroo that you could connect to with a web browser and all of that crap. Anyway, that beep means that the H8 has finished dumping the memory to the debug port. So I was hoping that it would change the status of RTS or DTR as it, like before and after it dumped this stuff, so I'd be able to tell when the dump was over and close the TCP port automatically, because then if I'm using Netcat or something to connect to the port and dump the data out of it into a file, it would automatically, close and finalize the file and all that crap. But it looks like it doesn't do that. So I'll have to figure out some other way to make it automatically finish writing the file after it finishes dumping. Perhaps some kind of timer or something. Although I hate to treat the console and tape ports differently from a network protocol-y setup-aroo standpoint, because that makes the code more complicated. Anyway, I'm rambling on at the mouth now, as I want to do. I was going to put headers on this little piece of perf board and jump the wires over there and then hang the ESP32 outside of the case, because I thought that once the metal cover was on, it would keep the Wi-Fi signal from getting out of the box, right? But it turns out that's not the case. I guess it can get through these plastic sides and up through the vent holes and shit. I don't know, but it seems to work. So, and the signal strength is no worse, which it's already pretty bad, but it's no worse than it is usually. So whatever, I guess. All right, that's it for now. I'm going to bed. Good night, gentlemen.